Hi, I'm Theodora, the owner of Make Your Body Fitness. For anything to become a habit or a lifestyle, including fitness training, it must be doable. There's endurance and there's strength. Strength involves weights. I make weight training doable for people. In this video, I've created a routine using common household items as weights. It's a routine for strength to help anyone who has to stay at home. Let's get started. So for this routine, we're going to use common household items that have weight to them. And so we're going to start with, most people have these. So let's say, for example, this is a larger dishwashing liquid, which the important thing is the weight of it. So this is 50 fluid ounces, which is a little over 3 pounds. This particular one is 64 fluid ounces, which is about 4 pounds. This is a gallon, which is about 8 pounds. This laundry detergent is 100 fluid ounces, which is a little over 7 pounds. So you get the picture. Then the other thing is a hamper. Just about everybody has a hamper. A chair with a back on it. Okay. Everybody should have a chair with a back on it. A bucket. Okay. A door or a wall. Oh, and by the way, make sure that none of your products are toxic for safety purposes. So don't take anything that has bleach or anything else in case you drop it. So we're going to do a full body routine that's going to involve the chest, the back, the shoulders, the abdominals, the triceps, the biceps, and the legs. Because a lot of these household items aren't necessarily particularly all that heavy, in order to challenge the body with the strength training, we're going to do what's called supersetting, where we're going to do 2 exercises for the same body part in tandem. In other words, one right after the other. First, let's get started by doing some stretches to loosen up. So for the chest, you need a corner, and you're going to take your elbow, keep it at your shoulder height. You're going to anchor it. The same leg of the side that is stretching, that's the leg that you're going to step forward with, and you're going to stretch. 1, 2, 3, stretch. And then you'll do it, of course, for the other side, anchoring on another side of the wall. Another way to do this stretch is you could use your door and anchor your elbows on each door panel, and then just step forward and stretch this way. 1, 2, 3. And then step back. 1, 2, 3. And then a correct push-up isn't just for the chest. It's a little bit more of a full body. It's a compounded exercise that involves multiple muscle groups. So one of the important things is to engage your core. And to do that, you also want to tuck. And you're going to also engage your glutes, hamstrings. Your legs are going to be about shoulder width apart. And this is very, very important in keeping the body like an ironing board through the movement. Hands on the wall. And just a general guideline is that top of your fingers is about shoulder level, give or take a little bit. You're going to pivot. So you don't want your heels on the floor, so you're not stretching, so that you could have a good range of motion. Okay. And then if you tuck and contract your core, okay, these can be, it's important that you don't arch, okay, and do this. Okay? It's very important that you engage your core and tuck. And the more that you tuck, the more challenging this is going to be. 1, 2. Also, the farther you are from the wall, that also is going to make it more challenging. Immediately, without taking any rest, you're going to do what's called a Sven press. A Sven press in the gym essentially involves a plate between the hands, chest level, or rather, excuse me, shoulder level, feet apart, once again, core engaged, and then the plate is extended out, and then it's brought back in. Could use something like this. This is 64 ounces, which is about 4 pounds. That'll be challenging enough. Okay, engage the core. Okay, extend it out, squeeze, bring it back in. 2, extend it out, bring it back in. Let's move on to the back. Let's start with a back stretch. Theodora helps in this particular one for the stretch. You'll anchor yourself on the outer part of the door, and the side that you're going to be stretching, you're going to extend that leg to straighten it while the other one is bent, and you're going to push your hip back so that you extend the distance between your hip and your shoulder for that stretch. The back is a very powerful muscle group, and so to get it to fatigue, not necessarily going to feel it very much, but if we do the super setting with weights using a laundry basket and then in isolation, you could end up feeling it. So we're going to take our laundry basket and we're going to fill it with as many weights as you'd like to fill it with. One of the challenges in using to do something bilaterally is you don't always have something that has the same weight. So doing it this way will end up giving you a weight while you could use it bilaterally. So you're going to bend over. So an important thing for form with the back is that you're going to have your knees a little bit flexed, again about shoulder width apart, and you're going to hip hinge. And very, very important with the back is for it to always be flat. The core is going to be engaged. Never, never, never arch the back. Always flat, core engaged. We're going to grab the handles up in the laundry basket, bent over. You're going to feel this also in your hamstrings as a stretch in the posterior chain. Okay, and you're going to pull up. 1, and then let it stretch. 2, 3, 4, contract. 5, slow release. 6, also you can also challenge the slower that you release. 7, 8 is you're fighting against negative resistance. 9, 10. Now we're going to superset that with taking one of these, and we're going to do bent over one arm back rows. So one leg comes forward, you're going to lean over and you're going to use that leg as a support. Again, flat back. And then you're going to bring this up like your elbow is drawing like a semicircle towards your hip. And you're going to contract. 1, release. 2, release. 3, release. 12, keep the arm close to the body. 13, 14, then we're going to bend over 15. And do the other side. Okay, once again, brace, squeeze. 1, squeeze. 2, 3. Okay, so now we're going to do the shoulders. Okay, so we're going to start with a stretch. Okay, you're going to bring your arm this way, and you're going to use the other arm to anchor it right above your elbow, and anchor it and pull in and stretch. On this side, then we're going to do what's called a scalene stretch. So you're going to grab your right arm with your left hand by the wrist, and as you pull the right arm down, you're going to take your left ear and you're going to bring it down towards your shoulder and stretch. This is what it looks like from the front. Okay, and then the other side. This is what it looks like from the back. Okay. Okay. So for this as a variation, I'm going to bring some plates that could be used for a rotator cuff. And then, okay, we have our a special cameo appearance by our assistant trainer over here, whose name is Baby. He's our family ferret, and he's very, very important for this video. Okay, so for shoulder exercise, I'm going to use the dishwashing, which is 50 fluid ounces, which is about 3.5 pounds. And I'm going to hold it towards its base. It's easier to have something like this for shoulders than a handle, because when you try and read, the weight of the fluid isn't even, and it's going to cause some stress on your forearm. So with shoulder exercises, again, all exercise, you engage your core. Shoulders particularly, you want to roll your shoulders back, and you want to kind of like bring your scapula together and rolling your shoulders back. It's going to help isolate the deltoid muscle so you're not using your traps. So you're going to use your weighted dishwashing fluid, and we're going to start with some lateral shoulder raises. 1, 2. All right, so once we've done maybe about 15 reps of side raises, we can then superset by doing 12 to 15 front raises, like so. 1, 2, 3, and so on to 15. So the side will be side lateral raises. 2, do them a little bit more controlled. You could accentuate the challenge a little bit more by holding the squeeze at the top and coming down a little bit slower. We'll do 12 to 15 this way, and then immediately after superset it with 12 to 15 in the front. Okay. What we could also do is could take common household plates. These are a little bit heavier porcelain that you could put in the oven. And we could do some rotator cuff exercises. So your position would be your elbows are at the height of your shoulders. Once again, always have the core engaged. And then you're going to go from this being like tabletop to then rotate upwards for this to be in a position of goalpost. So you're going tabletop to goalpost. I'm not flexing my wrists. The only thing that's working are my muscles to rotate, my shoulder muscles to rotate this back and then come down. Rotate back, come down. And this you can do to exhaustion. Okay, hold the squeeze, come down, depending on how heavy your plates are, 20, 25, until you fatigue. Now we're going to do an abdominal. Anything that's a leg raising exercise works the lower abdominal, and legs are about 18%, give or take, each leg of segmented body weight, and so it can be challenging. So you're going to use a chair with a back, and you're going to sit on it, and especially for women, you don't want to sit pelvis this way rotated. You want to ensure that you tuck, and the more you have your pelvis facing the ceiling, the more you're going to be able to isolate your abdominals to raise your legs instead of using your hip flexors. So there are different ways that you could do this. Okay. You can do it this way and make sure that you're curved like a C, where your abs are contracting this way. Okay. I'm not flexing my knees, I'm not extending them out. This is stationary. The only thing that's working is this, to bring my legs up by contracting my abs. You could do it this way. This is a little bit more challenging. You could do it this way. You can also do it this way by bringing them in. Okay. If you do it this way, make sure you don't bring your flex at the hip to bring your back down. Just keep it fixed, and then just tuck in your knees and extend, tuck in, and extend. Okay, now for triceps, first we're going to start with the stretch. You're going to bring your arm over like this, and you're going to anchor and grab by the elbow, and you're just going to pull. Okay, stretch this side and this side. For triceps, we're going to do a tricep wall push-up, a little bit of variation from the typical triceps push-up, and we're going to superset it with a tricep overhead extension that's weighted. So first, let's start with the wall push-up. Once again, core. Similarly, as we did in the chest, you want to pivot on your ball of your feet. Okay, again, shoulder width apart. You're going to take your hands and you're going to make your arms parallel with the bottom of your hands facing this way, kind of like a chop if you were to clap them together. And you're going to come to the wall again, core, same thing, don't flex, core engaged, tight glutes. You're going to lean towards the wall, and you're going to have your forearm resting on the wall, again, parallel, and then you're going to push yourself up away from the wall. The further you are from the wall, the more challenging it's going to be. 2, 3. Once we finish with our wall tricep push-up, we're going to superset immediately. We're going to use our bucket, and we're going to put something weighted in it. I'm using a laundry detergent. I'm going to take the handle. I'm going to bring it behind. Okay. Core engaged again. Straight. You want to keep your elbows, actually the point of your elbows facing forward, not outward. Try and keep your arms parallel. Once again, legs about shoulder width apart, core engaged. Extend up. Extend up. Extend, contract. That's what it looks like from the side. Okay, now we're going to move on to the bicep. I'm going to start with the bicep stretch. Once again, we need a corner. So you're going to extend your arm out, and you're going to anchor in a corner by your wrist. And what you're going to do is you're going to step forward a little bit similar like you did for the chest stretch, and you're going to rotate your chest as you're pushing like your shoulder forward, and you feel the stretch down the arm. Okay, so we'll do this a couple of times for this arm, and then how people to be able to see for this arm. You're rotating away. Okay, for the biceps, we're going to do what's called a hammer curl, and we're then going to immediately superset it with a regular bicep curl. Now for the hammer curl, we actually can use the handle of a whatever weighted fluid container. And you're going to, again, once again, core, you're going to keep your elbows, your humerus, you're going to keep it fixed, okay? When you do the contraction to come up, what you don't want is you don't want your arm coming back. Okay? So you're going to come up and then come down. And the front looks like this. Come up, squeeze, come down. Squeeze, come down. So you're going to do this for 12 or 15 reps. Slowly, you challenge yourself. Squeeze. The slower that you come down, the more you're going to challenge yourself. Hammer curls ends up working a little bit of the outer part of the bicep. When you finish doing the 12 or 15 reps for that, you're going to put the weighted item into your bucket. And now you're going to change the angle a little bit 45. And you're going to do a regular type of bicep curl. By changing the angle this way now, you're working a little bit of the inner part of the bicep. Try and get as full of a range of motion as you can. Squeeze. Okay, so the finale is going to be legs. And nothing beats a squat. So first we're going to do a little bit of a stretch. And a really nice stretch to do is to just squat down. Bring your elbows inside your knees and push them apart. Bring your hands together kind of like a steeple, which is going to help to push them apart and just kind of sink into it. Okay? And you're going to feel the stretch in your lower back, in your glutes, in your adductors, and just kind of stretch and enjoy that. Okay. So again, a proper squat is a full body exercise. And once again, you want your core engaged. And the important thing with the squat, you're going to have your legs about shoulder width apart. Your feet are going to be maybe about 30 degrees at an angle a little bit. A good thing to do is to raise your arms and have your hands on top of your elbows like this. Anytime you do any sort of extension out from the body, it helps engage the core. Okay? And so I have a separate video on Facebook already on how to do a proper squat, but you want to make sure, once again, that the squat begins by a hip hinge coming backwards, not leaning forward like that. You start to come down by bringing the butt back like you're going to sit into a chair. And you come down. Come deep, and then as you come up, you're going to contract your hamstrings, glutes to bring your pelvis and tuck and bring it back under your rib cage. Come up, squeeze. Come up. After we complete our squats, which is a compounded exercise of multiple muscle groups, we're then going to superset it with an isolation exercise, one for each leg. One of the things that when you have compounded exercises, which are excellent, you can do a lot of weight with compounded exercises, but if you have an imbalance in a weaker muscle group, you can't always tell what that is, because the other muscle groups are all working together and the weakened one can be a little bit hidden. But when you do something that's isolated, you can often feel what your weak muscle group, which muscle is weakened, which side is weaker. So you're going to take your chair as an anchor, and we're going to do leg raises with glute squeeze. If you do these on the floor, sometimes it could be uncomfortable on the elbows as well as on the knees. If you use a chair, you'll still get a challenge because, again, your legs do have weight to them. So you're going to stand on one leg, you're going to lift the other one, and then all you're going to do is just going to elevate and squeeze your glute. 1, 2, 3. relax. 1, 2, 3, relax. 1, 2, 3, relax. You'll feel the challenge of this. 1, 2, 3, relax. And then you'll end up doing the other side. 1, 2, 3, relax. Well, hopefully you made it to the end of this video. I want to thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. It looks like people for the credits, anybody who's in the video wants to definitely come in and get their attention and credits. And thank you very much for my daughter for helping me put this together for you. We're all going to get through this.